My name is Brian Hunter, and recently I returned from an expedition to Mongolia. Mongolia is a really wild place on the other side of the planet. It's a little country that is sandwiched between the giant countries of China and Russia to the north. And even though it's not a huge country, when you set out to run across the entire thing, it gets really big really fast. We know we're on the right road, but it's just, golly, this is desolate. Jason and I are beginning to think that somehow we might have gone through a time warp and we've been transported back in time to prehistoric Earth. The nature of our expedition was to run 1,500 miles across the entire country. The purpose for this expedition was to raise money and awareness for orphaned and vulnerable children living in the capital city. And my family was my support crew the entire way, my wife and my 2 kids. When I first began planning this expedition, I knew that I was going to need a lot of different product sponsorship. And when it came to sports nutrition, the company that was at the top of my very short list was SPORTea. I was introduced to SPORTea long before I went to Mongolia. I grew up in the mountains of Colorado, and I can remember one day on an ice climb in Rocky Mountain National Park, my partner pulls me up to the belay ledge and he opens up this thermos and pours out a little cup of tea, and he says, "You're gonna love this." And to be honest, I thought tea was for like old ladies and hats in England. I wasn't really much of a tea drinker. That first sip almost blew me off the belay ledge. I had no idea that tea could taste so good. And I exclaimed, "What is this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's SPORTea with a little bit of lemon, a little bit of honey." And from that moment, I was hooked on SPORTea. And so when it came to the expedition to Mongolia, I knew that I was going to need some nutritional products to get me across the country, and SPORTea was at the top of that list. And I approached SPORTea, and they thought our project was amazing and a really good, worthwhile cause. And so they loaded me up with SPORTea, and we took it all the way to Mongolia with us. And one of the things that I really like about SPORTea is it doesn't have a lot of caffeine in it. A lot of athletes, before they go out on a big run or ride or climb or whatever it is that they're doing, they got to get their day started with, a big cup of coffee or a double shot of espresso or something like that. And hey, good for them. But for me, I've just never really been into the caffeine buzz. Makes me jittery, and I don't like a caffeine rush. And so now here I am running 30 miles a day across an entire country to really set a world record, to be the first person to ever successfully run across the entire country of Mongolia. SPORTea was with me every step of the way. I'm so glad that they partnered with me and I was able to partner with them. And hey, go get some SPORTea.